What's up, Stu? I apologize. We're a little late.
That's all right, Jim. That happens. Happy
I
Thanksgiving.
happy. That's tomorrow.
I know, but it's
Oh,
almost
okay.
here. I feel it.
Have you
I am
been?
I am making preparations for such a day.
So are you? So tomorrow is going to be all about carbo loading for the big ruck on Friday. Is that what it is?
Well, yeah, but first we're going to earn that meal with a good my 24th annual Thanksgiving Day workout.
Stu's turkey trot
Yeah. It's fun
out
though.
there
It's a
doing
good group.
curls with 35-pound turkeys in each arm and stuff.
Yeah, well the cool thing about it is I've been doing these workouts here locally to prepare people for service and they all
Mm-hmm.
come back over Thanksgiving to visit home.
Uh-huh.
So they come do these workouts, and it's just like a little family reunion for hour and a half before we go eat turkey. So it's always fun. So I'm
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
So all these guys and gals and everybody who went off to become a SEAL or a Green Beret or a
Yep.
fireman or a policeman, all these guys that knew each other, they all get back together for this workout and swap stories.
Yeah.
How do the young guys look at that? Are they
Oh, they
like, oh
love it.
my god, oh my
They
god?
they love it. The fact that you can have everything that they want to be right there to ask questions, and it also takes away that impossibility factor too.
Right.
This guy did it. He was working out just like I was. So it's a very exciting day for me. And so I've actually finished all of my work that I normally do on Wednesday and Friday. Got it all done yesterday and today. So I have nothing to do for the rest of the week, Jim.
Wow. Excuse me. I didn't know I was standing in the presence of greatness. Good
Yep.
for you.
Now
I'm not.
I do have a book deadline that I'm still working on, and my goal is to have that done by the end of this weekend. So
Okay. Well, then how is that not a book deadline? You're writing another book?
yes,
Oh,
writing
wow.
two more before the end of the year.
Oh,
I'm on my this will be my fifth book this year.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, writing a series though. It's pretty easy when you write a four book series. It's
Okay.
still four books, but it's it is part of my to do list. But it's kind of an easy to do list. I don't really
Okay.
consider that work. I can just come down here for a couple hours, get some stuff done, and
Do you make that little
yeah,
motorboat sound while you're doing it? It's like
yeah.
brrr, brrr,
Got to be
brrr.
motorboating.
Well, speaking of motorboating, what's up, Kevin? What's up, Carlin? What's up, C Ray, Vicky, Rita? Welcome everybody who's here with us live. What's up, Michael? We definitely. I did something fun yesterday. I went and caught a couple of sales, and I went and bought a couple of gun safes
Oh,
yesterday, and they loaded them in the back of my truck, and I watched the truck go brrr, and I'm thinking, oh dear God in heaven, how am I going to get these things up the stairs? And then I called my son-in-law. He's like, I'm like, hey, you gonna come help me? He's like, oh, my back. I'm like, well, I didn't even ask you to do anything yet. I'm just playing, but he did give me a good bit of advice that I probably would not have thought about myself. I will give him credit on that. I won't give him credit if he doesn't show up to help. He said, take the doors off before you move them because the door's the heaviest part. And I'm
huh?
like, never would have thought of that.
Good advice.
I thought that was good advice,
I
probably
am
from
now
someone who,
I am now smarter.
yeah, who did not take the doors off before they moved it.
Lesson learned.
So yeah, so there you go. So that was fun. Anyway, all right. So what are we talking about today, Stu?
So Jim, we had a really good week last week
Mm-hmm.
with our first turn content into traffic program
Uh
training
huh.
that we
Uh huh.
did, and I wanted to discuss something that kind of kept coming up in the training, but it was kind of an underlying theme that I don't
Uh
think
huh.
anybody really talked about, and it is the basis of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to get eyeballs to your content, and that
Mm-hmm.
is hook story offer.
What?
Hook story offer.
Okay.
right? How important are those three elements for just like I said, turning eyeballs into customers?
Okay. So I guess I need to go to the board.
Yes.
And if we're going to talk about hook story offer, and would it be okay if I took control of the big screen there for a second? And
Take it.
you can be the Jiminy Cricket in the background.
Sure.
Okay. So if we're talking about hook story offer, that can mean a bunch of different things. Meaning, but the bottom line of it is hook is whatever the thing is that gets people to stop and pay attention. Story is whatever's in the middle, and then offer is whatever you're offering somebody at the end to like the next step after you stopped them with the hook, you told them the story, and what's the thing that comes next. So if you think about this 3-part framework, this can be a giant sales letter. Okay, so the hook can be the headline. The story can be anything from the VSL to a literal story that you tell them. And then the offer is the offer stack of all the cool stuff. And then, the buy button. All right, that can be hook story offer. But, hook story offer can also be a blog post. So you got the hook of your title, you got the story, which is your content, and then the offer is the offer of the next step in your sales process. Hook story offer can be a Facebook post where the hook is the picture. 99 times out of 100 on a social media post, the picture is going to be the hook.
Yep.
You got the story, which is the text or the video. And then you've got the offer, which is a link for somebody to click and go and get the rest of the story. Now, the interesting thing is that on a video, the same thing can take place. Typically, even with a video, or if you've got a podcast replay or something like that, your hook is some sort of a headline, but then the story's inside the video. And then the offer could be a button or something that drives them to something. But here's the thing. Doing a blog post, doing a Facebook post, doing a video, that hook story offer can then go drive them to the hook story offer of a sales page. So this is stacking hook story offer one upon the next. So if you're going to use content to drive traffic, you still need to think in terms of hook story offer, but it's hook story offer, and the offer is not the offer of the buy, but it's the offer of moving on to the next step in the sales process. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Was that the explanation you were looking for?
100%, Jim.
Okay,
100%.
cool.
In fact,
so we need to chop this out and put it as like the quick start video at the beginning of the training section for turn content into traffic, because this pretty much summed the whole thing up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, you have the genies and all that cool stuff that you can play with.
We didn't get into how you make the content. We just got into the content.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that I can't tell you how that is like that is the 1, 2, 3 punch that you need, to drive those potential customers or new eyeballs into followers and customers.
Sure.
I do it all the time with a story, because I'll write an article, a couple times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. I'll post a picture that I use in that article in my story, and then I can put a link to it. And I've shown you a few ways I do that with even using other people's pictures and posts, and saying, I love this, but check this out. I agree, and hijack it a little bit.
Stu learned how to defeat hijackers as a Navy SEAL, but now he's using those exact same principles of hijacking to use other people's content to promote his own stuff and the people are thanking him for it. Now, if
There
that
you
isn't
go.
a hook story offer, Navy SEAL uses anti-hijacking techniques to grow business. How's that for a hook?
I like that.
That's a
pretty
good hook,
impressive.
right?
Pretty
You know,
impressive.
and the thing is, you got hook story offer on an opt-in page. I mean, hook
Yeah.
story offer is everywhere. Hook
Yeah.
story offer is everywhere. And I got to give credit where credit is due. The first person that ever told me about hook story offer in that way was Russell Brunson. I mean, I give it up to him. He's the one that I first started, everybody was doing ADA and blah, 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 blah. He's like, look, hook story offer. That's it. He's the one that simplified it. Just like we came along and said, hey, look, only purpose of your business is lead, sales, build relationships. That's it. Everything in your business is done around lead, sales, relationships. I'm going to claim the lead, sales, relationships, but I give credit for the hook story offer.
That's interesting. What did you call it before hook story offer?
I don't know, headlines and stuff, building blocks.
But it's very similar to my journey and evolution. Whenever I started this business, I was writing programs for military, law enforcement, and firefighter fitness. I was trying to create that genre of military, law enforcement, firefighter fitness. And then lo and behold, guy from the National Strength and Conditioning Association creates a tactical fitness conference. And I'm like, whoa, that's exactly what I do. Yeah. And wrote the book on tactical fitness right there. Boom.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard that. So,
and it's like my old man said to me one time, he said, by the time you get done with this, everybody will think you invented it. So I think you came up with the term tactical fitness.
Nope. I had just had the first book out there on it.
There you go.
And I was speaking about it and writing about it long before we called it tactical fitness.
Right.
So, but I digress and I apologize.
Okay.
But the hook story offer just was such a major theme that I don't think we ever used it in the training, but it was just naturally implied.
Right. Well, now it's no longer implied or assumed. It is explicitly explained that is a vital part of turn content into traffic, is that you are using that principle to create content that drives people to the next step in your sales process, whether it's a sales page, an opt-in page, or just more content like a webinar, something like that. So this is the stuff that we are teaching inside of Turn Content into Traffic, which is available on the elite level of content marketing scripts. So each month we go over a different strategy, things that we're actually doing in our business, case studies of stuff that's working, giving you the latest techniques and tactics for making it work. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I like it. Michael Hornby asks, where can we plug in ebook offer?
Again, go ahead.
Guys, something I do is I use one of the wizards. What is it? Damn it. Why my brain? It's like the subtle sale. What is it?
Hidden persuasion wizard.
Hidden persuasion. There you go. That's what I couldn't think of it. Hidden persuasion wizard, and it is a really great tool to use as an explanation for that ebook. That is, the sales copy is just perfect in it, and it allows you to have that hook story offer built in, and that's why I love that wizard, particularly for plugging books and ebooks and other products.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I think did that address the issue of the Jim and Stu show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I just wanted to chat a little bit about that underlying premise of that training, and talk about the turn content into customers,
into eyeballs. Hey, one thing, and I meant to say something about this for like the last 4 weeks, but I just haven't. Move your microphone a half an inch away from your chin, and we'll have a little less popping.
Is that better?
I think so. Yeah. You get all excited, and then it starts popping and stuff. I'm just as an aside.
Sorry about that. Somebody
that's
told me
okay.
my mic sucked. So that was the feedback I had on a live Q&A, and I think it was probably I was hitting it with my chin when I was
Yeah.
talking. So
Yeah. You just got to watch your popping peas.
yes,
Popping peas. And
good
but
point.
that's cool. Yeah. Good job.
Good
All
point.
right. So are we ready for the podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So 3, 2. You want music? I mean, do we have Thanksgiving music? I think we do. You ready? That's good Thanksgiving music. We'll go with that. Did you hear that? Or did that
I
not
did
come
hear
through?
that. It
Oh,
was
okay. All right.
excellent.
Okay. Well, good choice. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Sales Copyright and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. I'm your host, Jim Edwards, along with my trusty co-host and podcast producer, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu.
Hello, Jim.
This is podcast episode 181. That's 181. And I'm constantly amazed at our ability to just stick to itiveness on this, because 181 podcast episodes actually is something that's kind of noteworthy, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a few years of this.
I mean, here's the thing. Even if only 10% of our podcast episodes were worth a crap, that means there's 18 good ones. How many people actually have even 18 really good podcast episodes? So, I mean, just the law of averages says that somewhere in here is some crazy good value for people, and that makes me excited.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like drunk monkeys on a typewriter doing Shakespeare. At some point, they're going to put the letters together in something in a way that creates something good. So good on us.
Well, Jim, you know what? Something that makes me excited.
What's that?
Analytics.
Analytics. Nice. Is that a girl you dated in college or something? Analytics.
Yep.
Okay.
So here's the podcast topic.
Okay.
What are the metrics that matter the most for your business?
Oh.
Analytics, sales methods, where your avatar lives and how they consume media. There's so many things that we need to think about whenever we are trying to find our avatar.
Yeah.
And find new customers.
Uh-huh.
How are they finding you?
Right. So metrics are more about whether or not your messages are resonating and your stuff is working. Now, I want to preface every single thing I'm about to say by saying that I got a D-. What did I get, Stu? A D- in statistics. I got a D- in statistics in college. This is no hyperbole. The teacher told me that they would pass me if I promised to drop out of the business school and go major in history or something else, but just to go away. And I said, okay. Now, D's don't get degrees, but I figured I could get a B to kind of even that out with a C. So the problem is, when I was in college and I was looking at numbers, there was no money attached to it, like no money going in my pocket. But if there had been money going in my pocket as a result of understanding statistics, I can flat out tell you I would have gotten an A+. So I will tell you right now, we're going to teach you or talk about the metrics, the numbers that matter, and the ones that really matter the most. All right. So the first number, as far as metrics that you need to know, is conversion rate. And specifically, you want to know conversion rate on either your opt-in page or on your sales page. Now, this is real simple. This is total number of visitors. Excuse me. Total number of visitors. Okay. And total number of sales or opt-ins. So, if I had 10 sales for every 100 visitors, what does that give me?
10%.
A 10% conversion rate. Yep.
Thanks for making that easy.
So yeah, I didn't say if I have 2.75 and blah 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 blah. Okay, so I want to know my conversion rate. It's how many sales, how many opt-ins divided by the total number of people that showed up. Now this is important to know because you've heard me tell in the past the story of testing my headline on a sales page. 100 people come through, nobody buys. 200 people come through, 300, 400 people come by, nobody buys. I'm like, holy crap. Change the headline, another 100 people come through, one person buys. Okay, I went from a 0% conversion rate to a 1% conversion rate. I tested another headline, 5 out of 100 people bought. Now I'm at a 5% conversion rate, but I'm doing 500% better than I was on the one that I had tested previously. So being able to calculate conversion rate is critical, and you typically want to do it with equal numbers of eyeballs. So if you're gonna compare one headline to another, one offer to another, one sales price to another, you're gonna do it in 100 or 1,000 increments. Okay. So the first thing is conversion rate. Now, the next one that you really want to know is very similar to conversion rate, and that is click-through rate. This is typically applied to, in our world, emails and ads. Okay? What is click-through rate? That is the total number of people who see your ad, see your email, versus the total number of people who click. So if 100 people get your email and 10 click through, what's your click-through rate?
10?
10%. Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Wasn't fully paying attention.
That's good. And if 100 people get exposed to your ad and 10 people click, that's a 10% click-through rate. Now,
what's a good
I knew you were going to ask that
percentage?
question. Everybody asks that question. Everybody asks. What's a good click-through rate is better than the one you're getting. That is typically what always trying to do better. And you just have to measure and see and always try and do better. Any number I give you, half the people would be like, whoa, I'm not getting that. And the other half would be like, oh, that sucks. And then the other half would be like, I have no clue whether that's good or bad. So like we got 3 halves in there.
Yes.
See, that's why that's the whole statistics thing. I just proved my point that I don't know statistics. You can't have 3 halves. Well, unless you take up your half in the middle, like some of the drivers here on these country roads.
Yeah.
So another metric that matters with email specifically is what's called open rate. And that's something you really want to look at is how many people you send your email to actually open it. Because what's the number one determinant of whether somebody opens your email or not, Stu?
I guess your hook story offer or your subject line.
Your subject line, right?
Yes.
So if you send your email to 1,000 people, let's say you have 1,000 people on your list, and 100 people open it, what is your open rate?
10%.
10%. I'm keeping this easy on purpose.
I appreciate it.
I'm not saying it has to be. Everything's 10%, 10%.
Yes.
So, and Susan is going to know. Susan, can I bring you in real quick? Ask you a quick question. Did you take statistics in college? Did you do better than a D-?
Yeah, but I had the looming threat of having to go back home.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're here. So we got open rate and we got click-through rate. What is the relationship between like the open rate and the click-through rate? Like, is that called something else?
No, that's what it's called. Yeah, and basically the open rate is who opens the email, and the click-through rate is who actually clicks the links in the email.
Of the ones that actually opened it. But if we're looking at, I guess what I'm looking for, like if the click-through rate compared to the overall send rate is 1%. So you're going to get a 1% overall, meaning 100 out of 1,000 opened it and 10 out of the 100 clicked through. So compared to the overall list, the click-through rate is 1%. Is that something, or that's not called something? We look at looking in our fancy email program to see if that's something that it gives us and stuff. I mean, this is like real. I mean, I know, open rate, click-through rate, that's important. I just wondered if there was some fancy thing.
They have what they call clicks to open rate.
Clicks to open. Is that different than? Yeah, that would be the clicks to open rate then. Okay. All right. It don't matter. Okay. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. So one of the things that this is going to help you do. So how do you use this? This would be the big thing. Like, how would you use just these numbers right here? If we went on to anything else, I'll tell you one other one. It's a big one, is ROAS. You know what ROAS stands for? No, it's not a disease you catch in a third world bar by being with unclean people. What does ROAS stand for, Stu?
Is it return on?
You got half of it. Keep going.
Advertising. Sales.
Spend. Oh, dude, you're 75% of the way there. Good job. Return on ad spend. Return on ad spend. Okay. This is like the big thing. Hey, what's your ROAS? And this has really became popular with Facebook ads, with Facebook, trying to justify the spending of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a day in ads to people. It's like, oh, your ROAS, all that stuff. That's the big thing. And it's basically money in divided by the money out, okay, in ads. So if I make $110 and I spent 100, okay, what's my ROAS? It's 1.1. Okay. We'll just skip to it's 1.1.
Gotcha.
All right. So anything over 1, you're not losing money.
Right.
So this is critical for you to pay attention to your ROAS. But if you're only making a 1.1, you ain't getting rich. I mean, I love seeing the people get their $1 million award who spent, who brought in $1,050,000 and spent $1 million in ads. It's like, you're not a millionaire. I used to see that. No, I used to see that in real estate too. I mean, this is just, you used to see that with real estate agents. I knew real estate agents that were making $100,000 a year and were keeping 90 of it. And I knew, and this is back when $100,000 was a lot of money. And I knew agents that were making $1 million a year that were keeping 100,000 when they got done with their office staff and their advertising expense and all the other expenses and stuff. They were walking away with $100,000. Which would you rather have? Walking away with $100,000 and have a life, or walking away with $100,000 and all the other stuff? It's up to you.
Yeah.
But this is the other one that everybody looks at. But again, just with these numbers, how do you use these numbers? How do you track these numbers? And how do you use these numbers to actually help you make more money? So let's go back over here and talk about this for a second. So conversion rate, back to hook, story, offer. Okay. If anybody's buying, that's a great sign. It's when it's 0 that you're like, okay, we got to change some stuff. The key here is that when you're trying to increase your conversion rate, the number one thing you're going to test is the hook. Once you remember in fifth, sixth grade, hopefully you got to do this too, because I had a great time, but you were learning about circuits and stuff. Did you get to play with like the 6-volt dry cell and had the little switches and the little things you could buy them at the hardware store, the little ceramic things you put the little light bulbs in and stuff? That was awesome. I'm sure they don't play with it now because the kids are too busy vaping or whatever. But when we did that, I always loved that idea of completing the circuit. Like how much crap can I link on this thing? And I got the little propeller motor going and I got the light and other stuff like that. And like making Rube Goldberg things with metal balls going down chutes and creating circuits using, gum wrappers and stuff. That's when I learned that you could take a gum wrapper and put it on a 9-volt and it would catch fire. And it's like, yes. Anyway,
survival
are you
skill.
playing with matches down there, Jim? No, I'm doing science, Mom. Oh, okay. So completing that circuit. Once you've completed the circuit, what you want to do is figure out how to complete the circuit faster and light up more lights. Okay. So once anybody buys, now it's time to start testing one variable at a time, paying attention to the conversion rate. The number one thing you want to test is that hook, because we know the copy works. Whether it's an opt-in page, whether it's a video, whether it's a sales letter, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, it works. Somebody bought. So now we need more somebodies to pay attention. We need to stop more of those people, and we need to pre-frame them for what's coming next, and we need them to pay attention. So the number one thing when you're trying to increase conversion rates to test the headline. When I told you that story of going from 0 to 1 sale to 5 sales, the only thing I tested was the headline. Didn't change the price, didn't change anything. The only thing that got changed was the headline.
Nice.
Headline, 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 headline. You can only test one thing at a time. Do not test a new headline and a new price and different bullets and a different picture and a different offer no, because then you're not going to have a legit test.
Yep.
So,
great
hook
advice.
Story offer. What do you test first? You test the hook. Next, once you're like, okay, I can't get any more people to pay attention, then you test the story. Why? Because it works. So what we want to do is test the story in such a way to keep them in our sales process longer so that they can make it to the offer. So we're testing a longer story, shorter story, different variables in the story, whatever, if it's a real story or whether it's problem agitate solve, whatever it is. Then once we can't do any better on that, then we start messing around with the offer. So do you have to do it that way? No. Maybe you test the offer. Maybe it's as simple as testing different price, different terms, different guarantee, all that stuff. But you can only test one thing at a time. You want to test the stuff that's going to have the biggest impact. The biggest impact is going to be your hook, story, offer. All right. Now, so once we get our conversion rate up as high as we can get it, now it's time to start getting more eyeballs on this thing. Hey, I got this thing and I know this sumbitch works. Okay. This thing works. Now, whether I got 100 people coming across or 1,000 people across, you want to get it to the point where I had like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, had a webinar that I was doing, and we had done this thing so many times and we knew the numbers so well that I could literally tell him, look, dude, for every person you get to sign up, you're gonna make this much money. And I said, if you get 1,000 people to sign up, you get this much. 2,000 people, you're gonna make this much. And to this day, it's like, dude, I still remember when you told me when I had 1,500 people sign up for this thing, you said how much money I was going to make from the webinar, and you were right within $50.
That's some serious metric understanding there.
But that was
Nice.
knowing based on just by doing it, knowing the emails, knowing the open rate, knowing how many people would sign up, knowing how many people would show up, knowing how many people would see the thing. I just knew you could work it backwards, knew exactly what you were going to make. This is the part where you really start making money, but it's also the part where most people have not even made it this far because they got bored and went on to try the next squirrel, bright, shiny object thing. So if you know, again, you've completed the circuit. What if you could get an extra 200 people to open that email? Well, shit. If my open rate goes up to 20%, then that means I'm going to get 20 people to click through, which means my click-through rate's going to go up to 20%. And so if I double the number of people who are actually seeing what I'm doing, then I should double my number of sales. So the reason why you want to know this, or if I can increase my click-through rate on an ad, let's say that my click-through rate right now is resulting in me having a 1.1 ROAS. What if I can double the click-through rate on my ad? What's that going to do to my return on ad spend? Well, if my click-through rate doubles, I'm not going to pay any more in ads. Okay. If we're following this example, there's other stuff, my click-through rate, let's just go with this, depending on the type of ads you're doing. But my click-through rate doubles, but my ad expense doesn't increase, then that means I'm going to bring in $220 because twice as many people are going to see it. So I'm going to make twice as much. So my return on ad spend is not going to be 1.1. It's going to be 2.2. Now I'm doubling my money.
I'll do that any day.
Okay. Now there might be, again, there might be more. What if I could increase the take rate on my one-time offer? What if I could increase the take rate on my second one-time offer? Okay, so the last thing you want to understand is cart value. This is why we do what we do with setting up funnels and stuff. Because we might be selling a $29 ebook on the front end, but by the time we get done, the cart value has gone to $77 on average for people that buy. So I know I can spend up to $77 to make a sale and still break even. And that doesn't even take into account the back end stuff. So bottom line is this: you can bury yourself in metrics, but the only metrics that really matter are these. Conversion rate. How many opt-ins or sales versus unique eyeballs? That's the number one thing. Figuring a conversion rate on an opt-in page, a sales page, whatever it is you're doing, whatever the mechanism is. And then the stuff that you are sending to that, again, wherever you're sending something out, what's my click-through rate? What's my open rate? What's my open rate? What's my click-through rate? Ultimately, that's it. And how much money did I make? If you keep it simple, then look, dude, they built the pyramids with rocks and string and sticks. Now whether they used a ramp or they used a gajillion slaves or whether these, all that stuff is immaterial. How they did it doesn't matter. The technology, the calculations they did, it was basic geometry, it was sticks, it was stones, and it was strings. They built the pyramids.
Yeah.
All right. So conversion rate, click-through rate, open rate, return on ad spend, and cart value. How do you measure that stuff? Well, everybody and their brother has got reports for that. You got Google Analytics, you got link trackers. Facebook will make you insane with all the different metrics they want to give you to make you think that something's happening. Your 3-second views versus your 6-second views versus this and that and that and that and this. How many people saw it? How many people did what I wanted them to do? And how much money did I make versus how much money I spent in time or money? That's the stuff you got to remember and measure.
Yeah.
Any
You
thoughts?
want to hear? You want to hear a more simpler thing that I measure.
I would love to hear it.
I mean, that is absolutely true. Conversion rate, click-through rates, all of those are very important
Okay.
metrics to know. But
Uh-huh.
something that I did the other day, and I sent you a text or an email with it,
Uh-huh.
and it was some pretty interesting things that I did not realize,
Mhm.
right? And it is real simple. I had 100% increase in sales last month from last month.
Yahoo!
That was pretty good.
Nice.
I was really happy with that one.
Absolutely.
And so I've been looking back, like what I actually did to make that happen, and still trying to figure it out. So 80% of my sales come from a mobile device, whereas
Okay.
20% are from desktop or laptop.
Okay.
So that matters as to how I find those people that are on their phone. Typically, it's through social media, but there you can access email and websites and things like that. And your website just needs to be mobile capable. That's what makes that a very important metric to know.
Yep.
The other one was I didn't realize my return customer rate was so high. It's 75% with 25%.
What?
Yeah, with 25% new customers. So now, I mean, I do have a lot of products and services, and a lot of people
Yeah.
start off with books and ebooks, and they advance into the online training program. So that kind of makes sense, that journey. But I think I'd like to get my new customers up a little higher. And then I had 75% USA and 25% international,
Okay.
which was interesting. Now, I did look at the countries that made up that international, and 75% of those are English speaking countries. So
Okay.
it's not like I really need to worry about foreign language translation of any of my products yet.
Right.
Right. So that was a neat metric that just said, yeah, I'm going to keep focusing on America, Great Britain, Australia, and Canada. But those were my big ones, Jim, as well as, those are the big ones I looked at.
And by paying attention to that, one of the immediate things that comes to mind is that you need to make sure that every single thing you do is mobile optimized.
Yes.
Because if you're not mobile optimized, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And you almost want to hope that you weren't mobile optimized, because if all your sales are coming and then you mobile optimize everything, it's like, we're going to get rich.
Yeah. Let me think what else I look at. Conversion rates. Yeah, look at that one. Countries where they come from. And then social media sources. Instagram by far is my biggest social media source. So,
and just by measuring that, if you weren't measuring that, then what would you think it was? You wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't know. I would probably guess Instagram, but it would be a toss up between Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Right. But now you also know, if you're measuring them independently, you can say, okay, well, I know my audience is on YouTube. I know my audience is on Facebook, but I also know my audience is Instagram. If you're trying to increase conversion on them individually and measure it, then you can see the difference. But you also can, there's time, energy, time, whatever. There's some BS they teach you in business school, like time, cost, benefit, BS or something. Yeah. It's like, hey, you know what? I could spend a whole bunch of time trying to improve my results on Facebook, but I could also take that time and just kick ass better on Instagram and call it a day. Because if 100,
yeah, go ahead.
It's because if 100,000 people are on Instagram and 10,000 people are on Facebook, and you're converting both of them at the same, increasing conversion on Facebook isn't going to have nearly the same effect as increasing like a 5% increase on Facebook is not going to have the same effect as a 5% increase on Instagram.
100%.
So, that's that. Again, you don't have to be a statistics whiz to be able to figure that crap out.
Yeah. And what this analytics showed me, or metrics analytics. Maybe we can explain the difference of that because I'm obviously confusing the two.
Metrics are the numbers, and analytics is the thing that's used to gather the numbers.
Okay, great. That's good. Okay, so what these metrics tell me is that my Instagram is 10 times stronger than my YouTube and 8 times stronger than my Facebook.
Right.
So that's a significant.
So what you're saying is Instagram, if you wanted to meet chicks, you go to a bar, not a convent. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
There you
Okay,
go.
good. There you go. Nice.
Okay.
I'm loving it. So I mean, that's just saying, put your damn effort towards Instagram, maximizing that, than worrying about the stuff that's not working. That's what tells me.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's where my audience is. You know,
Right.
my audience is going to be more geared towards that. So
Yeah.
it just makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, this was good. This was fun. I mean, it's funny how math is not a boring topic when it's your money involved. It's a boring topic when you don't see any kind of a relationship to what's going on. But all of a sudden, when it translates into do, re, mi, dollars and cents, everybody and their brother knows how to use one of them Hewlett Packard calculators. You remember those? The ones with all the damn buttons and stuff. God, I hate those things. Everybody's an expert or needs to be when it's your own money that's on the line and your time. And that's the bigger thing. This is not just about money, but it's about time. And, we all are operating with the same 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. That is the single greatest equalizer in the known universe, is that whoever you are, you're operating with the same amount of resources everybody else every single day. And that is the most valuable resource you have, is your time, how you spend it. And so knowing these numbers, knowing the metrics and stuff is about managing your life too, not just the money.
Yeah. And another interesting statistic too to read into is the age group of your avatar, because that completely explains why 80% of my customers are on their phone, and why why 80% of my customer base is not 80. I guess it's significant. 10 times more of my customer base is on Instagram versus Facebook.
But you also got to look at this though. And again, this is understanding your customers. You got all these young guys on Facebook. I mean, you got all these young guys on Instagram, but you got the older guys with more money that are on Facebook.
I know. Absolutely. I can't neglect them.
Getting a kid to pay you $500 a month to train them is a lot harder than getting a middle-aged guy that's trying to get back in shape to pay you $500 a month to train him.
That is true.
And so you got to also look at where the audience is, look at what the average customer value is and all that stuff as well. Not telling you to ignore things, just know who your avatar is, where they are, and what's happening. Because you a lot easier to get an old man to renew at $500 a month than it is to get 100 kids to buy a book that nets you $5.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. To realize that I have two avatars is very important as well.
Yeah.
So,
and you didn't used to really.
No.
When I first met you, that wasn't part of
that wasn't part of my focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I realized I've had customers for over 20 years that are 40 years old. I was like, I need to come up with something for them.
Yeah, and they're looking to spend money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stu's cradle to grave in them. There you go. Nice work. All right, everybody. Well, our work here is done.
Yeah.
So this was a great episode. This is, math is your friend. If you want to get rich, understand the math that it relates to the people. But again, it always comes back to the people. Who are you called to serve? How are you going to serve them? What's your story and what makes you unique compared to anybody and everything else that they could be spending their money on? So nice work, Stu.
Hey,
And,
thank you.
for-
I'm gonna share with them my easy button for finding these analytics.
Okay.
I have a Shopify store
Okay.
that is linked to my social media. It is my store, is my website, is my blog post. All of that is all involved. It has a membership site. All of that is in one place, and I can click a button that says analytics, and it shows me everything from month to year to day, conversion rates, all that stuff. And
Nice.
it is really simple to understand.
Very cool. Excellent.
And that
All
was
right,
a
man.
commercial that I didn't get paid for.
Well, let's give them a commercial that you could get paid for. If they're feeling a little sloppy and a little out of shape, where can they go?
You can find me at StuSmithFitness.com.
That's right. And if you want to learn how to put content up that actually gets people to buy, try, click, and sign up, check out contentmarketingscripts.com/go. All right, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.